This channel is made possible by viewers like you. My viewers, subscribers, and patrons greatly help to keep this channel going. I wouldn't be here today if it wasn't for all of you. Please make sure to subscribe so you don't miss any uploads. And if you'd like to go the extra mile, please check out my Patreon page. For just $1 a month, you'll get access to what I'm working on, previews of upcoming content, and even early videos, along with other tier options for those that are interested. Thank you, and now on to the video. So the PS5 Pro was just announced, and over here it's going to be $700. This is absolutely nuts. Now before I have any of the defenders attacking me in the comments, saying that this is a luxury item and not a necessity, I understand, and pretty much all of gaming is a luxury item. As much as many of us want gaming and might even die without it, it's not a necessity. I think the $700 price point stings a lot because of what Sony has been doing with this generation. Add on to the fact that if you want your PS5 upright, which from what I understand is the preferred position for better airflow and cooling for your console, you need to then shell out another $30 just for the stand, and then the problems with the PS5 Pro just keep getting worse. You'd think that if you're paying that much for a console, that it would include a disk drive. Nope, that is also not included at all. Disk drives will run you about $80. So before tax we have $700 for the new system, $30 for a stand, $80 for the disk drive, and now you're at over $800 for this Pro version of PS5. Simply put, Sony is out of their mind with this. For anyone who has not really seen my channel, I want to provide a little background as well. I'm not a Team PlayStation, Team Xbox, or Team Nintendo kind of guy. I love games and I go where the games are. For example, I love Siphon Filter, Uncharted, Days Gone, among many other PlayStation games. And for Xbox, I'm a huge Bungie Halo fan. They rank as some of the best first-person shooters for me. I generally want PlayStation, Xbox, and Nintendo to all do well. Good competition helps to create a better space for all of us, and hopefully keeps the games at a high rate of quality and something worth investing in. I totally understand the concept of a mid-fresh during this cycle, but this more feels like Sony is trying to pull something from their PS3 days. Taking you back, Sony was hot off the PS2. They dominated and they definitely knew it, but when they came in with the PS3 at $600, I think this was something that ultimately hurt them. Plus the PS3 was harder for third-party developers to make games for, often having games made with the 360 in mind and then ported to the PS3. Now don't get me wrong, I love the PS3. It could play PS1 games. If you got one of the early models, you could play PS2 discs on it. The exclusives were amazing. We saw the birth of Uncharted, Infamous, Heavenly Sword, Resistance, and many others. But it took Sony the entire lifespan of the PS3 to sort of right the ship on the errors with the PS3 at launch. Generally, I would say they did well with the PS4 too, but with moves like this for the PS5 Pro, it makes me wonder what their aim really is here. It feels greedy and honestly a bit unneeded. Who is this really for? Something else I take issue with, or rather wonder about, is the kind of precedent that this does set for, say, the PS6, or whatever they're going to call the next console. Does that mean consoles now are going to be sold for $700 or even $800? Will we see a DLC-like approach where they continue to take stuff out of the console that used to be part of it, like a stand or especially a disk drive, and now we have to buy all of that as add-ons for our new console? Even looking at Sony a bit further, they increased the price of the PS Plus a lot. Was the increase really worth it? For a normal membership, do you feel like you're getting more value than you were before? The new console is $700, but from the outset it feels like this price is a lie, and that Sony is just trying to take stuff away and then try to mask that as a cool new thing, and at the same time it doesn't have that disk drive included in it. How can you have a pro version of your console, essentially the better version of the PS5, then have it come with less features than the launch PS5? The Pro feels like marketing tricks to try and trick and wow consumers, when if you take a step back and just think about it for a moment, it really doesn't pass the sniff test. I would not be surprised if for the PS6, we see the need to then purchase a controller separately, then no controller will be included. How long until I have to pay Sony for the right to add more accounts to my PlayStation? Some of this stuff might sound silly, but it is something I could totally see going down the road. I think a contributing factor for the frustration with the PS5 Pro is that it seems like Sony really hasn't been sending the right messages about their console for most of the generation. Many of their big titles, like say the Horizon Zero Dawn sequel or God of War Ragnarok, were games that you could also play on your PS4. Yes, the games looked better and ran better on the PS5, but if you really didn't care about having the best version of the game, and you just wanted to have access to the game, it presents another reason why upgrade at all. Then you look at the games that are exclusive to the PS5, and this is one that can leave you scratching your head a bit. Many of these games are not really true exclusives. What do I mean by this? Well, Sony has been making an effort to put their games on PCs as well. Sure, there is a delay, and you're getting that initial access with the PS5, but eventually the games will be coming to PC. This made many players overall very happy. There's more access to your games. Personally, I like this, and it presents another strong reason why PC gaming is the better option to go with. And oddly enough, by putting the PS5 games on PC, it presents another reason to not own a PS5. Why bother? You could save up and get a decent PC, and have a lot more options for your gaming. There's plenty of free games, and if you're interested in gaming preservation and really old things from a vast array of classic consoles, through emulation this is all available to you, and it's really easy to get that up and running. Add on to this, you can also play PS5 games on your PC. Why wouldn't you want to go with a PC over a console? Plus, playing online is free on PC, unlike needing to go through a payroll on your PS5 to access larger portions of a game you already bought. Personally, while I have enjoyed a handful of PS5 games, I have been largely disappointed with this generation. I thought Returnal was great. Ghostwire Tokyo is wildly underrated. I want to play Rise of Ronin and Stellar Blade, and that Astrobot game actually looks really awesome too. There's also been too many needless remasters and remakes like The Last of Us Again. Did we really need that? Sony needs more creative and mid-tier type stuff to really go with their heavy hitters. I could care less about the new Horizon game, and I much prefer the older God of War games to the new ones. While I haven't played Spider-Man 2, I hated what I read about what they did to Peter, along with some of the other things in that game. Honestly, the one thing that keeps me playing my PlayStation often is the classic games that are getting released. I'm talking about Siphon Filter, Time Splitters, Pursuit Force, among others. This is what keeps me coming back to my PS5. A best friend of mine lets me use his PS Plus premium account, and I get to access them that way. Now, I could easily emulate many of these on PC, but here there is a nice convenience factor of just being able to turn my PS5 on, and then boom, I'm playing some great games from the past, and in many cases they still are great. But as another knock against PS5, many of these classics can be played on your PS4, which is great, and they should be available on both. But again, it presents a similar issue. Where is the exclusive content for your PS5? Where are the reasons to own this specific console? You look at the Switch and there's a large number of exclusives you can only play on that system. It's priced well and provides the player with options, like having it as a handheld or as a more traditional console. I still see many reasons to invest in a Switch. I don't see many to invest in a PS5. Now, if I was Microsoft or Xbox and I was looking at the reaction for the PS5 Pro announcement, I would very much try to take advantage of the situation. There are rumors that they are working on some sort of handheld device. Whether that is something that works with your Xbox console or is entirely separate, we don't really know yet. But if Microsoft has something almost ready, now would be the time to fire it off. As a disclosure too, I have an Xbox Series S. It's an all-digital console and I mainly use it for some backwards compatibility games and Halo games as well. It's a pretty nice console, especially for what I want it for, and again, it's well priced and often goes on sale. I honestly want to get an X down the road at some point because I have many older Xbox and 360 discs that I could use there too. What Xbox can do from here, I feel like this is an opportunity to try and sway more console gamers back into their neck of the woods. Personally, if you were looking to play games and you didn't have a current gen system, I would invest in a PC. In the long run, you'll have something much better off than what any of the consoles can provide you right now, and you'll have a lot of options too. Something else I find funny with the PS5 Pro is that they were showing comparison shots for games that could be played on the Pro, but some of the games are really old. How does this entice you to then buy the console? I feel like Sony thought this was something good here, and it didn't really work out, especially from the announcement. This should have started to build hype and momentum for their new console, but it seems like it did the exact opposite. And while I do like that Sony is making older games more available on their family of systems, I do feel equally compelled to speak up, especially when I don't agree with one of their actions. I hope they correct their ways, and maybe they can give us some more reasons to actually get excited about their consoles again, outside of playing some older great games. And as a side tangent, find a way to bring back those PS3 games natively to your consoles, like what you're doing with the PS2 games. Streaming PS3 games as your only option sucks. I hate the input delay that comes with it. Another thing we need more colorful type of games. We need games that aren't these pretentious titles like they seem to be going for. Stuff like the golden games from their past. Look at Sly Cooper as a great example of this. You need more stuff like this. So what are your thoughts on all of this? What do you think of the PS5 Pro? How have you felt with the PS5 this generation? Let me know all of this in the comments down below. If you're interested in supporting the channel, please check out my Patreon page. For just $1 a month, you can help to keep this channel going strong, and this allows me to be able to do more for my awesome audience. Please check out the links in the description and pinned comment for ways to support the channel. And most of all, thank you very much for watching.